Okay, if you've ever wanted to truly understand the tactical importance of squad depth in a massive, high-stakes tournament, you are absolutely in the right place today. We're breaking down a seriously dramatic heavyweight clash between two unbeaten squads, France and Norway. This wasn't just your run-of-the-mill fixture. This was the definitive battle for the absolute top spot in Group I. So we're going to unpack exactly how this wild game unfolded, looking at the data, the crazy sequence of events, and those pivotal strategic choices that turn a highly anticipated test into an absolute masterclass. Let's dive right in.
Right off the bat, there was this massive, looming question hanging over the stadium before kickoff. What actually happens when you bench your absolute best player in a heavyweight clash? Because, wow, that was the pre-match tension caused by Norway's manager, Ståle Solbakken. In a move that literally shocked fans and analysts everywhere, he made the incredibly gutsy decision to leave superstar striker Erling Haaland on the bench. I mean, going into a game against a powerhouse like France, resting your most lethal weapon is a huge gamble. Was it going to pay off as some genius tactical redirection, or would it just backfire completely?
Section 1. A shocking start. Heavyweights collide at Boston Stadium. So the moment the referee blew that starting whistle, the sheer contrast in how these two teams prepared was honestly staggering. On one side, you've got Solbakken's Norway fielding 10 lineup changes. 10. That is a massively rotated side for a match that's literally deciding the group winner. And then, on the other side, you have France rolling out their ruthless, star-studded starting squad totally uncompromised and led by their incredibly dangerous captain, Kylian Mbappé. It was basically a makeshift Norwegian structure going up against a beautifully oiled French machine, and man, the consequences of that gap were felt almost instantly.
25. That's the exact number of seconds it took for France to set this blisteringly fast, terrifying pace. Literally just 25 seconds after kickoff, Kylian Mbappé unleashed this thunderous strike that violently rattled the crossbar. Talk about a deafening warning shot, right? Before this heavily rotated Norwegian squad could even figure out where they were supposed to be standing on the pitch, France was already knocking loudly on the door. It completely set the tone for the rest of the game.
Moving on to Section 2, the Dembélé Masterclass, a 32-minute symphony.
Now, while Mbappe fired that initial warning shot, it was actually Ousmane Dembélé who put together a 32-minute hat-trick sequence that just completely suffocated Norway's defensive game plan. I mean, his breathtaking efficiency in that first half totally defined the match. We're going to look at 3 specific moments here: his 7th-minute slice, his 20th-minute curler, and a gorgeous 32nd-minute solo effort. These 3 strikes established France's dominance and showed everyone exactly how clinical they can be when they find their groove.
The big breakthrough came super early, in the 7th minute. France kept up that suffocating pressure from the opening seconds, and it paid off right away. Mbappe, really stepping into the playmaker role here, threads an absolutely perfect delivery directly to Dembélé. And Dembélé? He doesn't hesitate for a second. He clinically slices the ball right past the Norwegian goalkeeper, Egil Selvik. Just like that, boom, it's 1-0. The Mbappe-Dembélé connection is officially locked in, and Norway's scrambled defense is already showing some massive cracks.
Fast forward just 13 minutes to the 20th minute, and you're getting serious déjà vu. It's the exact same connection all over again. Mbappe turns provider once more, feeding Dembélé. Tactically speaking, Norway's rotated defense just gave him way too much space right at the top of the box, and Dembélé completely capitalized, striking from outside the penalty area and unleashing this unstoppable left-footed curler straight into the bottom corner. It was just a stunning piece of individual skill, completely built on Mbappe's vision and Norway's structural gaps. So now France is cruising comfortably at 2-0.
Which brings us to Section 3, Norway's miraculous response 72 seconds later.
72 seconds. Honestly, that is all it took for Norway to punch right back. The sheer thrill of this moment really can't be overstated, because despite being heavily rotated and despite being down 2 goals, they completely refused to just roll over and give up. Instead of retreating into a defensive shell against this world-class French squad, this pieced-together Norwegian team takes the kickoff and just charges straight forward. They wanted to inject all that suspense right back into the stadium, and man, they did it in just over a minute.
The actual mechanics of this counterpunch are just a thing of beauty. In the 21st minute, charging straight down the pitch, here's how it happens. Step 1, Andreas Schelderup smartly cuts the ball infield. Step 2, he finds Thelo Aasgaard, who executes this incredibly clever shoulder drop to just completely bypass the French defender, Dayot Upamecano. And then step 3, Aasgaard plants a low drive that totally roots the French goalkeeper Mike Maignan. Beats him clean. The stadium absolutely erupts, and Norway suddenly cuts the deficit to 2-1. Game on.
The frantic, chaotic energy of this first half was honestly just breathless. A goal at the 7th minute, another at the 20th, and then that immediate miraculous response at the 21st. We're literally watching two heavyweights trading rapid-fire blows. It perfectly illustrates how quickly momentum can swing in a top-tier group decider like this. But as you might guess, France was definitely not done. They had a pretty definitive answer of their own coming up in the 32nd minute.
Okay, this brings us to the completion of the hat-trick. In the 32nd minute, Aurélien Tchouaméni steps up to orchestrate this beautifully moving sequence. He spots Dembélé, Dembélé receives the ball, and with just sublime footwork, he completely teases the Norwegian defense. He opens up this little pocket of space for himself and whips yet another magnificent curling effort right into the bottom right corner. Yep, that is his third goal in just 32 minutes of play. Incredible.
As the match analysis so perfectly noted, any hope of a permanent Norwegian comeback was swiftly crushed by a man possessed. I mean, that perfectly encapsulates the reality of Dembélé's performance here. Norway had just generated this stadium-shaking momentum with their 21st minute goal, right? And then Dembélé steps up just 11 minutes later and totally crushes it. He sent Les Bleus into the halftime break with a commanding 3-1 lead, just completely neutralizing that Norwegian surge.
Section 4. The final blow. Missed chances and ultimate control.
So early in the second half, right in the 49th minute, Norway actually gets what you would absolutely call a golden lifeline. They fought so valiantly coming out of the locker room, putting massive pressure on the French box, and they are awarded a crucial penalty kick. Guys, this is the moment. This is exactly where you bring the score to 3-2, shift the entire psychology of the game, and make France really sweat for the remaining 40 minutes. The tension at this specific juncture was literally at an absolute peak.
But then, Jørgen Strand Larsen steps up to take the spot kick, and he fails to convert. He misses the mark entirely, and wow, this missed mark was a totally heartbreaking turning point. It just instantly drained whatever remaining momentum the Scandinavian side had left. You know, you do all that grueling work to earn a penalty against a top-tier side, and when you come away empty-handed, the emotional wind is just completely taken out of your sails.
And really, from that exact moment on, the dynamic of the match was totally locked in. Both managers tried to shake things up with structural changes. Both benches brought on tactical substitutions to try and alter the geometry of the pitch, but the sheer overwhelming quality of that French squad just took over. France completely controlled the tempo, they dictated the pace, starved Norway of any real attacking rhythm, and essentially managed the rest of the game with the clinical, cold precision you'd expect from a heavy tournament favorite.
Finally, to put the definitive exclamation point on this absolute masterclass, we jump deep into stoppage time. 90+3. The young French phenom, Désiré Doué, finds the back of the net. He slots home a clinical final goal to cement a wildly dominant 4-1 victory. This dagger of a goal safely and decisively secured France the top spot in Group I, proving once again that their unique mix of established superstars and hungry young talent is just unbelievably lethal.
Which leaves us with this final provocative thought to take away from this day. With Group I secured by such a ruthless 4-1 performance, is this French squad truly unstoppable? They faced a previously unbeaten opponent, absorbed a really chaotic counterpunch, completely dictated the tactical flow of the second half, and walked away with a dominant victory. All driven by individual brilliance like Dembélé's and incredibly collective tactical discipline. It really makes you wonder how on earth the rest of the tournament field plans to solve the puzzle of Les Bleus in the knockout stages. Thank you so much for joining me for this breakdown.